In international football, tournament success is usually a choice. You can either build this impenetrable fortress and just suffocate your opponents into submission, or you can unleash a heavy metal attacking machine that completely outscores its own flaws. And tonight, at the World Cup Quarterfinals in Los Angeles, those two exact philosophies are about to collide in what is probably the most volatile match of the entire tournament. France has already punched their ticket to the Final Four with a clinical 2-0 win over Morocco. Now they're just waiting for the survivor of Spain versus Belgium. It is the wall versus the hammer. Let's dive into this explainer and see exactly how these two stack up. Look at this clash of absolute extremes. On one side, you have Spanish defense riding a historic wave of perfection. We are talking about 6 consecutive clean sheets on the biggest stage in global sports. They literally have not conceded a single goal. Not one. And then on the flip side, we have got Belgium. The Red Devils just completely dismantled the United States with a terrifying 4-1 victory in the round of 16 in Seattle. They have exploded for 13 goals in just their last 5 games. They are a ruthless, high-scoring machine just waiting to punish every single mistake. Now, I want you to really think about the sheer scale of the number 609. That is the exact number of consecutive scoreless minutes Spain's goalkeeper Unai Simon has logged at this World Cup. He actually blew past the previous record of 517 minutes, which was held by the legendary Italian keeper Walter Zenga, a record that had stood entirely untouched since 1990. In their recent victory over Portugal, Simon pulled off the spectacular mid-air diving stop just to deny a deflected header. So he isn't just stopping shots at this point. He has built this massive psychological wall that Belgium somehow has to climb over. And as we trace this timeline, you can see that Spain didn't just stumble into these clean sheets by getting lucky. They engineered them. It is all about supreme spatial manipulation. The main takeaway here is that Spain literally uses the ball as a defensive shield. Their passing networks are perfectly designed to tilt the field, keeping the ball locked in the middle third, which just drains the physical reserves of their opponents. Take their recent 1-0 destruction of Portugal. That wasn't really an attacking showcase. It was a defensive warning. When you control 80% of possession, the other team literally doesn't have the tools to hurt you. But this passive defensive strategy is about to look a completely different beast dead in the eye. Of course, a strategy like that relies heavily on flawless execution. You need specific personnel making absolutely zero mistakes. And center backs Aymeric Laporte and Pau Cubarsí, they have been perfect. They flawlessly execute Spain's philosophy of moving the ball, driving forward, and defending the space left behind. And then, sitting right in front of them, you have the 2024 Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri. He has been rightfully called the lighthouse of the team, dictating the flow and ensuring total structural stability. Combine that lighthouse with Pedro Porro locking down the defense, and you are looking at a unit that simply does not break. Okay, let's move to the other side of the pitch, because here is the thing. Belgium does not care about your passing percentages. After a somewhat sluggish start to the group stage, the Red Devils have unlocked this terrifying level of offensive output in the knockout rounds. They aren't interested in slow buildups, right? They play with this vertical, high-octane urgency that is specifically designed to catch defensive units shifting in transition. In their 4-1 demolition of the co-hosts, the USA, Belgium showed an elite ability to force turnovers in the middle third and transition into a shot on target in under 5 seconds. 5 seconds! They flood the half spaces with overlapping runners, which forces those center backs into really uncomfortable one-on-one isolations. And even if you manage to survive that initial barrage, they unleash this guy. Romelu Lukaku has entirely embraced a new role for Belgium, and the reality of it is just staggering. Against the USA, he scored the final goal in stoppage time. That made him the very first player in the entire 96-year history of the FIFA World Cup to score a third goal coming off the bench. Think about that for a second. He has mutated into this historic weapon, scoring in 3 consecutive games as a super sub. That brings his international tally to an incredible 93 goals. So when your legs are tired in the 70th minute, Belgium just brings on a fresh, physically dominant world record holder. Good luck with that. So this brings us to the mastermind, Coach Rudy Garcia, and exactly how he pieces this whole puzzle together. Up front, Charles de Ketelaere is expected to operate as a really dynamic false nine. Against the US, he was the absolute key player. He struck a brace in the first half and pulled the American defense completely out of shape. Plus, their talisman, Kevin De Bruyne, is projected to return to the starting 11 after a tactical benching. This means Belgium is going to have elite playmaking pulling the strings for their terrifying gegenpressing system, orchestrating those exact vertical overloads that completely devastated the United States. However, it is not all smooth sailing. Belgium is facing a massive systematic blow right in the heart of their midfield. During that dominant win over the USA, Amadou Onana suffered an awkward fall in the 21st minute and had to be forced off the pitch. The diagnosis is an ACL rupture. It is a devastating ligament injury in his right knee that officially ruled the Aston Villa midfielder out for the rest of the World Cup. This is a massive, massive setback for the Red Devils. Which leads us to probably the most urgent question of the entire tournament. Who replaces the irreplaceable? See, Onana wasn't just another player. He was the safeguard. He provided this crucial structural balance between experience and freshness. In the chaotic knockout phases of major tournaments, you desperately need a player who stops the match from falling apart under intense pressure. Whether it is winning a duel, intercepting a pass, or just closing down positional space, Onana was Belgium's anchor. Without him, the defensive responsibility of the entire system increases dramatically, especially against a Spanish team that holds 80% possession. So, Coach Rudy Garcia has to reshape his entire plan over the long term. He basically has two primary options to fill this massive defensive void alongside Yuri Tielemans. Will he rely on Nicolas Raskin, or will he turn to Hans van Aken? Now, Van Aken proved he could handle the pressure by coming on and scoring a crucial goal before the hour mark against the USA. But let's be real. Scoring goals and stopping Spain's relentless midfield passing carousel are two entirely different jobs. Whoever gets the nod is going to have to play the game of their absolute life. And that defensive assignment, it is so incredibly tough, because the tactical focal point of this entire match really comes down to the individual creators. While Rodri is going to directly lock horns with Kevin De Bruyne to determine who dictates the tempo of the pitch, Belgium also has to worry about Spain's lethal efficiency up front. The historic data shows exactly why Miguel Oyarzabal remains the most dangerous weapon for La Roja. He currently ranks as Spain's 6th all-time top scorer with 29 goals. More importantly, he has been involved in 23 goals, scoring 17 of them in his last 17 national starts. Even with their passive defensive possession, Spain literally only needs one tiny opening for a player like Oyarzabal to absolutely punish you. Adding a touch of drama to this clash is the long, fascinating history between these two nations. Believe it or not, this is their third World Cup meeting, and the second time they're meeting in a quarterfinal. Back in 1986, it was an absolute thriller. The match ended in a 1-1 draw, and the Red Devils ultimately advanced on penalties. 4 years later, in the 1990 group stage, Spain got their revenge with a 2-1 victory. Sure, it is a small historical sample size on the global stage, but it provides some fantastic context for tonight's high-stakes puzzle. But if we look at modern history, Spain carries a crushing wave of psychological momentum, perfectly represented by the number 11. Spain has an 11-match unbeaten streak against Belgium across all competitions. That is a run dating all the way back to a defeat at Euro 1980. They have won 9 and drawn 2 of those encounters. And in their last 5 meetings alone, Spain holds an incredibly dominant 13-1 aggregate scoreline. So Belgium isn't just fighting against a historic defense tonight, they are fighting against decades of historical dominance. The countdown has officially reached 0. The tactical battle lines have been drawn. The winner here doesn't just advance to face France and Dallas, they inherit the psychological momentum of having conquered the ultimate tactical puzzle in North America. So what do you think? Will Spain's flawless defensive record hold firm, or is Belgium's frontline simply too explosive to stop? Let me know your exact score predictions in the comments below, smash that like button, and subscribe for our daily World Cup deep dives. See you at kickoff.